Welcome to my lesson today about conditionals. It's teacher Mariam Buqaidi. Enjoy your lesson. I know conditionals have different types. Type 0, Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3. We are concerned today with Type 0, Type 1 for first year baccalaureate. Let's start now by conditional Type 0. Okay, let's start by looking at this piece of ice and fire. Now the result. So this sentence comes like this. If you heat ice, it melts. So as you can see, this sentence, if you heat ice, is the cause. And this sentence, it melts, it's the another sentence that looks like it. This is boiling water. If you boil it, if you put it on fire for 100 degrees, what happens? It evaporates. This is the condition, water and fire. The result is evaporation. Let's read the sentence. If you boil water, it evaporates. The cause or the condition and the result. Now this picture. If you jump in a lake, what? You get wet. Again, this is the cause and this is the result. As you can see, we have a sentence starting with if plus a verb, then comma, then another verb. So if you jump in a lake, you get wet. Let's explain more. So the sentence starts with if plus a verb in the present and a comma, you get the result as a verb in the present. This is conditional type. Okay, so this is the rule. If plus condition plus result. If plus simple present plus simple present. Conditional type 0 is composed of if plus simple present plus simple present. The use of conditional type 0 is when we talk about general truth, about something that is a fact, that is the truth. It's like a real world truth. We talk about habits when we talk about habits, and when we talk about scientific facts, like if you boil water, it evaporates, right? 1 plus 1 equals 2. That's a conditional type 0. Here are some examples. Let's read some of them. If it rains, the ground gets wet. So you have if plus rains, the verb in the present. The ground gets wet. Gets, the verb to get in the present. If I cry, I have a headache. If you mix yellow and blue, you get green. If you are tired, you go to bed early. If you leave the object, it drops. As you can see, all these sentences are composed of if plus condition in the present plus results in the present. You may consider some practice exercises. It's practice time. Can you make the 0 conditionals by putting the verbs in the correct tense? Complete the conditional sentences type 0 by putting the verbs in the correct form. We have if plus a verb, you have to put it in the present, comma, subject, and a verb that should be done in the present. Okay? So, if I wake up late, I am late for work. If my husband cooks, he burns the food. If Julie doesn't wear a hat, she gets a sunstroke. If children do not eat well or don't eat well, they aren't healthy. If you mix water and electricity, you get a shock. Conditional type 0. Now let's move to conditional type 1. Hi, sir, how are you? If I train, I will win. So the condition is training, the result is winning. So the results will happen in the future. That's why we use the future tense. If plus verb in the present, comma, will win, that's the verb in the future. If I study hard, I will succeed. If plus verb in the present, will succeed is the verb in the future. If it rains, I will open my umbrella. So here we have the rule. If plus verb in the present, plus comma, plus verb in the future. This is 1. Now let's see if plus condition plus result. The only difference between type 0 and type 1 is that type 1 happens in the future. So if plus present plus future, the uses of conditional type 1 is possibility in the future. If you do something now, you will get a result in the future. Real situation in the future. Some examples. If you work hard, you will win the prize. If work present will win future. If you listen to me, you will understand what I mean. If you lend him some money, he may not give it back to you. If she doesn't leave the house, everything will be bad. If you don't go to school, you will stay at home all day. Okay, these are examples of conditional type 1, and as you can notice, they are all composed of if plus present plus practice time. Now, can you make the conditionals? Put the verbs in the correct tense. Complete the conditional sentences type 1 by putting the verbs into the correct form. If you, the verb send, this letter now, she, the verb receive, it tomorrow. You have the time indicator tomorrow. So you may guess which tense we will use. So if you send this letter now, she will receive it tomorrow. If I do this test, I will improve my English. Perfect. If I find your ring, I will give it to you. Peggy will go shopping if she has time in the afternoon. As you may notice, this sentence starts with the conditional, with the other. As you can notice, this sentence doesn't start with if, so it starts with the result. When we put if in the middle, we don't make the comma in the middle of the sentence. I hope this is clear. We'll see another example. Simon go to London next week if he gets a cheap flight. So if plus present, the result will be in the future. So Simon will go to London next week if he gets a cheap flight. Now we're done with conditional type 1. Let's have a quick review over conditional type 0 and conditional type 1. Conditional type 0 is composed of a condition plus result. It is used in the simple present and simple present. So if you stand in the rain, you get wet. If you heat ice, it melts. We use it for facts which are generally true on scientific facts. The condition always has the same result. Now, conditional type 1, it is composed of if plus simple present plus will plus verb. Will or won't, affirmative or negative form, means we use the future. If it rains, we will cancel the trip. If you study, you will pass the exam. It talks about possible situation in the future, predicting a likely result in the future if the condition happens. We are done with conditional type 0 and conditional type 1. Thank you very much for your attention. I hope you have learned from my lesson and I hope to see you soon, inshallah.